New Orleans Saints, Tampa Bay Buccaneers betting preview, ladies and gentlemen, or at least the beginning of a betting preview. So this is way earlier than we usually do this. These numbers have really kind of just came out, the player props. They usually start dropping on Wednesday and then trickle on out. And as we go through the remainder of the weekend, there'll be more and more available. The menus will get bigger at the sports books. But I did want to talk about this game because interesting game in the sense that it's the first time that Kellen Moore has seen a defense twice in a season, right? We already played the Buccaneers. We still have to play the Panthers. The second time, we still have to play the Falcons the second time. So this is Kellen's first crack at a defense twice. Now, there's not too much to glean from the first matchup. The first matchup was the last of the Spencer Rattler experience, and when Tyler Shough took over. All right, now Tyler Shough in this one went 17 for 30 for 128 yards and a pick at the end there. But what's notable is the pass attempts, right? So that's the only thing that you could really kind of look in this from the Saints side of things, because the game script was so bad by the time Shough came in, but his willingness to throw it, whatever, right? From the Buccaneers side of things, you could look at the workload of the running backs. So Bucky Irving wasn't in this game. Bucky Irving is back now for Tampa. Sean Tucker is now the third running back. Rashad White is the second running back. So maybe this is a situation where you look at Rashad White's yards, which we'll look at in a bit here. Because if you're thinking, well, if Bucky Irving's the one, but he's also coming off of an injury, and if they're ahead, why would they want Bucky to carry the ball 20 times? Wouldn't they split the carries? Possibly, right? So we're going to look at this whole thing. All right. So real quick, let's just look at the Bucs injury report. Limited Mike Evans, full participant, Chris Godwin, Bucky Irving, Baker Mayfield, Benjamin Morrison, Hassan Reddick, and Rashad Wisdom. Did not participate, Tristan Wirfs. Limited was Jalen McMillan, and like I said, Mike Evans. For us, Talise Fuaga did not participate, Alvin Kamara, Chris Olave, Justin Reed. All right, Chris Olave dealing with the back spasms. Talise Fuaga has been dealing with injuries all season. Alvin Kamara, doubtful, I would say he plays, but you never know, right? And then Justin Reed, he tweaked his knee last week as well. So let's take a look at the actual side, the total and all that stuff. So it's 8.5 is the number. Is that where it opened? Let's see. It opened at... where am I at here? It opened at 8.5. Okay, so it's relatively unmoved. Stations is showing a 9, but so kind of unmoved here. All right, now I don't usually play big numbers like this. 8.5. It's not really my style to play big numbers in the NFL. But if I did play a big number in the NFL, I would play the dog. Anytime I'm generally a dog player. Anyways, I would rather get points than give points. Like tonight, I have the Cowboys plus 3.5, so we'll see how that goes. But what I would tell you is to wait. We're going to monitor the market a little bit here. If you see 8s pop up, then the Saints are probably the right side. If you see this number go to 9 and 9.5 and keep moving, then that's not good for the Saints, right? So just wait, just chill on that, and We'll see how that goes. But right now, I can't advise either side. Total open 43.5 has ticked down a bit. Not surprising because it's in Florida, so you never know what the weather's going to be, but also because the New Orleans Saints are the New Orleans Saints, right? They can't score. So not surprised that this number's ticked down. I don't usually play totals, especially in today's NFL with the new kickoff rules and all that stuff. It's so hard to play numbers like that or play totals. But and then the bet splits. 68% of the money, the handles on the Bucs, 71% of tickets. So just judging by these splits, I would guess this is going to move to 9 and 9.5 and so on and so forth. But if this is the bet split and it goes to 8, then this gets very intriguing to take the Saints. What I really want to talk about is the props. Props, I think, is where you can, if you think you know, right? Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. If you think you know the game script, props, I think, is where you can really get after a game. Okay, so What do the Bucs do well defend? Oh, let's start here. What do we think? Like, how do we think the flow of the game will go? Take your bias, fanatic, take all that out. Just look at it just objectively. The Buccaneers will be ahead. Okay, let's just put it that way. They'll be ahead. This is more than likely. I'm not saying this is always going to happen. More than likely, the Bucs will be ahead. All right. If they are ahead, they're probably going to run the football. If they are ahead in running the football, the New Orleans Saints, conversely, will be throwing the football. Even if the game is close, I think the Saints will still be throwing the football. The Buccaneers defensively, so if you look at them on DVOA, so defensively they are the 8th overall defense. Okay, good defense. Now specifically, they're always good against the run. As long as Vita Vea walks the earth, they're going to be good against the run, right? They're 6th against the run. Okay, against the pass, they are 16th, right? So they are absolutely gettable through the air, especially compared to on the ground. Then you throw into the fact that the Saints will probably be playing from behind, right? Where they are much more willing to throw the football. Hence, Tyler Shough throwing the ball 30 times in this game. Spencer Rattler threw it 21 times in this game. Now, yes, this is a bit different. It was 17-3, and then it gets out of hand. But it was 0-0 in the first. It was 7-3 at halftime. So it's not like this game was 21-0, and the Saints didn't have a choice; they just had to throw it. I think this 51 right here tells you a lot about what the Saints are going to try and do in this game. Kellen Moore knows he can't run the football. Alvin Kamara more than likely will not be playing. Taysom Hill is Taysom Hill. So it's going to be, his option is, do I try and run Devin Neal and Evan Hull at the, 6th, or what are they against the run? The 6th best run defense? Do I let Evan Hull and Devin Neal try and win me this game? Or do I throw it? Okay. And I think he's going to choose to throw it. So that's the first prop I want to show y'all is the Tyler Shough pass attempts. So Tyler Shough pass attempts. Come on, Internet. What are we doing here? What are we doing here, ladies and gentlemen? It's crazy weather here in New Orleans right now. That's why I got to the studio a little late. It's basically a torrential downpour, hurricane level winds and rain. 32.5 is the number at MGM and FanDuel. Now, I think this is low, and I would play this. And I think it's going to tick up across the board. It is already ticked up or opened up higher at places at 33.5. It ain't going to 31.5, okay? So the best number, 32.5 minus 125 at MGM, I think is a play. And again, these are attempts, okay? Now, I know this is a whole different situation, but in this game, the Saints completed 32 passes. Shough attempted 30 passes, and he didn't play the whole game, okay? So I think Shough is going to be tasked with throwing the football. I think he's got to throw the football. Rush is always interesting with the quarterback, especially with Shough now. He has 6 carries in the last game. I think he's going to start running more. I think he kind of has to. So I would monitor that as well. Todd Bowles is a difficult defense for rookies or young quarterbacks to play against. And so Shough is going to have to do 2 things. Run, he's going to have to tuck it and go, and he's going to have to get rid of the ball quick. Okay, those are musts. All right. So those are the first things I'm looking at. I played his passing yards last week, and it hit. You could do that as well if you want to do. It's all correlated, right? The more attempts you get, the more completions you get. The more completions you get, the more yards you get, right? So if you're thinking, well, Tyler Shough's going to be slinging it all over the place, maybe you get involved at 215. Maybe you get involved at 20.5. You need 32. You need 32 or 33. You need 33 attempts, right? So then if you're looking at his completions at 20, probably feel pretty good about that. Now the question is, what number are you, like, what would you want to see, right? Well, if we do some quick math here, if we look at the pass attempts, we need 33 pass attempts to hit, right, the Tyler Shough on the season is completing 65.2% of his passes. So what is 65% of 33? It's like 21 something, right? So if it's 21 something, then that hits on the completions. Okay, so you need him to, now you could say, well, it's kind of high, right? Like I need basically him to, and that's if he has exactly 33. I mean, if he has 38 or 40 pass attempts, this all goes out the window. But if he goes 33 pass attempts, then you're looking for a 65% completion percentage to then also eclipse this number right here. There's a little bit of quick math for you, ladies and gentlemen. So I wouldn't blame you at all for going Shough completions, Shough yards, but I like to play attempts because completions, like an attempt, throw it away, drop, whatever, all counts the same. Now, begs the next question. Okay, well then who's he going to throw to? If he has to throw, and that's the way the Saints are going to win the game, who's he going to throw to? Well, you got two options. Okay, Chris Olave is option number one. Now, Chris Olave had a back issue last week, back spasms, and it also seems he may be, I don't want to say he's falling out of favor, but it seems like Devon Vele may be falling into favor. Okay, now Vele has been opening up around 2.5 or 1.5 catches. Now he's at 3.5. Okay, now this is a boom or bust situation. I think what's going to happen is I think Devon Vele is going to become the target leader for the Saints. I think he's going to get a majority of the targets moving forward. I think from last game to the end of the year, I think the most targets and catches on the Saints will be Devon Vele. So we have to exploit it while we can, right? Until he moves up to that 5.5, whatever, like Chris Olave, okay? Now, my only concern here is, again, if you look at DVOA, if you go to defense versus receiver, you can look at how good they are versus the 1, versus the 2, versus the whatever, right? So Tampa's pass D rank is 16th, okay? Against wide receiver 1, they rank 4th. Okay, so that's bad news for Chris Olave. All right. Then if you go to wide receiver 2, so DVOA wide receiver 2 rank, Tampa is 2nd against wide receiver 2s. Okay, so they're really good against the 1 and 2 wide receivers, a.k.a. Chris Olave and Devon Vele. Now, it might not matter. It might be in a situation where it's like, okay, well, they don't throw it to anybody else. But if this is the case, then maybe you go over to tight end where Tampa is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and maybe you look at Juwan Johnson, okay? So you look at Juwan, bada bing, bada boom, he's at 4.5, okay? Maybe it's a situation where you're looking at this and saying, well, if the corners are that good and Bowles is that good and Shough's got to kind of just get rid of it, maybe it's a Juwan Johnson situation, okay? I would absolutely look in that direction. You could also look in the direction of Devin Neal if you think, they're going to dump it off. 2.5 might be solid there. Get involved. I wouldn't hate sprinkling it across the board, honestly. You take some Juwan Johnson, you take some Devin Neal, you take some Devon Vele, and then you just hope that Tyler Shough slings it all over the place, okay? Let's look at one more here. So I mentioned Rachaad White. So Rachaad White, so Bucky Irving is back, but he's coming off of the injury list, so he's probably working up to speed. If the Buccaneers are up in this game and they're running the ball a lot, I just don't think they're going to give Bucky 30 carries, right? Why would they do that? So Rachaad White could be the beneficiary of a little bit of that. I think his rushing yards, 10.5, that's at Fanatics, it's not real. 12.5, 12.5 might be low. They don't have his rush attempts on here, yeah. But I wouldn't be surprised at all if he got a fair share of carries. Now, the Saints' run defense has been pretty decent, but still, if you're looking at him getting just some elevated work while Bucky kind of works into things, that would be worth a look. Bucky's at 16.5, 17.5 attempts. It's just hard for me to imagine. They're like, yeah, man, just go run it 20 times when you have so many running backs that are effective in Rachaad White and Sean Tucker. All right, so if you're looking to do something with Tampa, I'd probably look this direction. 12.5. You can rip that off in one run, obviously, but you know, also just kind of turn and burn if Tampa is indeed up, right? Now, something else to look at, and I don't think it's on here, but Saints in the first quarter. Saints are really bad in the first quarter, first half of games. If you want to look like their team total unders, things like that, just to ride that trend. Now, you might be a little late on the trend. We're in week 14, but that's something else you can kind of look at, right? You can look at Tampa in the first half, or Tampa or Saints team total under in the first quarter, Saints to punt, things like that. And then, okay, here we are. Team total first half. MGM has the Saints at 9.5. Okay. Team total in the first quarter, they're at 3.5. All right. Now, you're not going to play these numbers, but just give you an idea. Team total for the game, New Orleans is 16.5, which, makes sense because 17 is kind of where they land. Total in the first quarter is for the game is 7.5. All right. So you can take a look at, Saints to punt, first possession, things like that. But if you don't want to take that, if you just want to root for the team, I understand that as well. Okay. But I think I just don't see any other way than through the air for the Saints. I think this is going to be a heavy Tyler Shough game. The ball's in his hand a lot. I think if he's looking at Juwan Johnson, Devon Vele, you kind of make some magic happen with the props there. But I just kind of wanted to start this conversation. Vele's touchdown is plus a little over 3-1. So funny, man. I was taking this like 20-1, 15-1, and just wasn't hitting. And then finally he gets in the end zone, and now it's unbettable. So, LOL. But interesting stuff. I think you can get after this. I really do. I think you can get after props like this when you kind of have an idea of what's going on. Let's see what Taysom Hill's stuff is. They only have his rushing yards. They even have it up. Maybe not. His rush attempts last week was like 8, and now I bet it'll be like 2.5. But so that's like a beginning of just kind of a preview, just kind of get the ball rolling in your mind of how this game could possibly go, or what we're going to see, or what we think the game script will look like. I know some people have said, hey, do the betting previews earlier so that I can actually get the bets in or get the best number or whatever. So this kind of gives you an idea of where my thought process is, where my line of thinking is with this, just kind of how I see the Saints attacking this offensively and what I think the Bucs could find themselves doing as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.